That big for us. What it do, man? It's your boy Elo, and I'm here on a special edition with my lovely wife, Miss Arnesha. We got a great episode for y'all today, man. It's been a heck of a journey, and I think that this episode today on Father's Day, first and foremost, shout out to all the fathers, shout out to all the real fathers, the ones that watch this show. They understand the angle that I'm coming from when I'm saying what I'm saying on here. So today is an episode that I'm gonna enjoy with my wife, and we're gonna talk to the parents out here that's in the athletic world. So today, me and my wife, we came here to talk about our journey with our son. If you watch my stories on social media, I told y'all I was gonna come on here soon and tell y'all why I haven't brought y'all a new episode. And today is the episode I've been waiting to bring y'all. So we started a journey with my son with football and basketball and track and all of this, but the football journey has taken a full spin on him. So me and my wife came up with a couple questions for each other on this episode that we asked. We thought that was great questions for parents, any parent dealing with any student athlete right now, especially in the high school world. Coming from middle school, my son is currently going from 8th grade to 9th grade right now, and there's a lot of parents going through that transition. There's a lot of parents that's been through that transition, going through that transition again with their younger kids and realizing we just in a different time right now with the athletes and the student athletes. So without further ado, my love, let's go. Let's get these questions rolling for them.
All right. So I know that dealing with football, since you've been playing it basically your whole life, you always said you would wait until your son asked you to play football. You wouldn't just put him into the sport just because that's something you started at a young age. So I know 2024, he came to you when we was at the Miami Northwestern Vero Beach game, and he had this light bulb go off, and I remember him looking at you and said, I'm ready to play football. So why wait until he says that he's ready to play? And how did you feel during that moment when he mentioned that to you?
For one, the reason to wait is because one thing I don't ever want to do as a dad is try to live through my son, through certain things. And with football, that was my outlet as a kid. That was my release of my way of doing things. So I knew he had been around football his whole life. I didn't want to force him to ever play, because if you force a kid to play tackle football, he can gain a very big hate for it. Mm-hmm. So I knew that if you want to make somebody, if you want someone to naturally love something, they have to gain their own love for it. So that's what it was. And at that game, it was kind of a setup, though. It was kind of a setup, because I knew what the atmosphere was going to be at that game. So that's why I wanted us to be in that stadium that day. And it was crazy, because did I expect him to ask me that day? No, at all. So when he said it at the game, I was like, did he just say what I think he said? But when you go to your first high school game and you see and you experience the bands playing and you experience two high caliber teams going at it, like a Miami Northwestern, like a Vero Beach High School, you could only draw into the hype. I was looking forward to taking him to the Westwood Central game, but the way that the city's been handling the game has been a little different. So you don't get that Friday night experience with both bands, the city rival, all that good stuff there. So what I did, I found the next closest thing. We knew a couple players that was on Vero Beach teams that was from Fort Pierce that we went and checked out. So seeing and hearing him ask me at that game, it was a good feeling. But at the same time, I thought he was just caught up in the moment, so I didn't know he was serious until he asked again.
Yep, so he asked again, and then you had to do your homework to figure out what would be the best option for him going into tackle football, because that was the only option at his age if he really wanted to be introduced to football, because he did do flag, but that's just running and like taking a flag, so that's not a real football to me. But
right, totally different rules too.
Right, so when it came to the tackle, of course I was nervous because I done heard everything that you've been through, my dad, cousins playing football. So you did your homework on that and you found the best option for him.
Correct. So okay, let's bring the story in full. It was all of this happened. Okay, he first mentioned it in the Vero The V-Road Northwestern game was probably the first game of the season last August was that game, and that was the first time he asked. So fast forward May. It was May last year when he came back in, and I was in here playing a video game, and he came back in and he said it again, Dad, I want to play tackle football. And I said, okay, bet, I'm gonna find you a team. That's how I said it. I was like, bet, I'm gonna find you a team then. So that's when I got on it. Truthfully, I was thinking I was gonna take him to PSLAA. I thought about the Spartans. And then I said, he got to start where I started at. And that was after I had to talk with Coach Willie Boston. Coach Boston came and got a haircut from me at the shop. And we talked. I won a championship myself with Coach Boston and with the semi-pro team. And I understood what he understood about football was next level. I knew that would be the best bring in. And on another note, Coach Boston has probably coached, it's like literally 90% of the kids from Fort Pierce that's left here on scholarship has played the 14U, Fort Pierce Firehawks 14U for Willie Boston. So knowing that resume, knowing that's in the city, knowing it's for the city, hey, I was sold. So we took them last June. It was like the first week of June, they started training over here at Longwood Stadium with Coach Boston, and they was running. And that whole time I'm watching them. You know, you going through summer workouts in South Florida, you're going to find out if you really want to play football or not. I can promise you that. If your coach only got you running, let alone got you at the stadium running stairs. And that's how Coach broke them in. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, we might be on to something. And I started having my feelings and stuff for football all over again, to the point that by the end of the Jamboree game, I was voted onto the coaching staff with the team. And my wife had to sit back and watch all this unfold. And yeah, but I got a question for you. We're going to go question for question on this thing. All right. We just done started the beginning journey of this here. We just done made it to him playing for Coach Boston. As a mother who never was into athletics fully yourself, when all of this started taking off, what was your thought process? Like, did you think that it can be like what it's seeming it's going to be now? Like, what was your thought process?
Him saying he wanted to play football was nerve-wracking for the simple fact, I'm like, I don't know about the tackling, the injuries. You know, like I said, I dealt with you with your football injuries, so I'm like, I don't know. I don't want my son, I don't want my baby boy to go through all of that. Because if you don't know, I was getting hurt so much in semi-pro. When he decided to play his last game, he had to sign a contract with me due to so many injuries he encountered during football season.
Facts.
But with him, I just, like I said, I let you take over with that. But I supported his journey. If that's something that he really wanted to do. But then everybody see him, his size, and they like so amazed, and like I don't be understanding that. I don't know what they look at as a football player. So I knew that he was, just starting off in basketball. Well, not really, but he was trying to hone in on his skills with basketball, and then he was just beginning the track season at Lincoln Park. So I'm like, I don't know if he really gonna be wanting to do football, but he stuck with it. Like Earl said during that training with Coach Boston, it's not easy. He was sore as I don't know what, but I don't know. I just learned to trust the process and, understand that his dad, the coaches are at his best interest. They're not here to, have him beat up and banged up all the time, and they're going to put him in the right position that's going to be suitable for him. Then when he's growing into this football, high school football, now you got coaches from all different high schools trying to contact the dad and me and be like, oh, can you bring him here, and giving they spiel on, what they can do with him, for him, and all of this stuff here. So now it's starting to become a little bit overwhelming, because it's like, dang, he really, him? Like, as a incoming freshman, like, that's how all these coaches see him, and he's like a humble kid. So it's just like, okay, now you got to really stop and think about everything. And my big thing is all these high school coaches reaching out to him. My thing was the education. Like, I don't really care about the sports. What you can do for him in the sports is what can you do for him when it comes to his education. Because if the sports don't work out for him, I don't want him to be stuck at that school where he's struggling in his academics. Like, are you still going to help him during, like, is it still going to be a school that's beneficial for him when it comes to academics? So it's just a lot. It helped. Now I'm in the process of, you know, learning more in depth about football, what it all entails when it comes to your child. Like this new NIL stuff, like what does that entail? When can that start? You know, coaches coming at you at colleges certain times and stuff like that. So it's still a learning process, but it's a fun learning process for me now. Still get a bit anxiety due to the fact now I know that he's gonna have to go to these different camps and games when I'm not going to be able to be there with him. So it's kind of like trying to already prepare him to get up out of the nest. So, it's a journey, and I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go back to when he started last season with the Little League. The first game that they played was the Jamboree. We was in Melbourne. And it was like the third play of the game. Again, he had never played tackle before, so I was nervous because I wanted him to perform, but I know this is his first year, so I don't want to put no pressure on him. And it was like the third play of the game. The quarterback for the other team, he rolled out running, and I seen my son, he like dropped back into coverage. He was at linebacker, and I was like, he was late on the read, so the quarterback was running, but he's so naturally fast that I seen a flash in front of me. And he hit the kid. Wow. And when I tell you that kid was out, I mean, like laid out, rolling on the ground, and actually that kid never came back in that game. All the coaches like, I told you he was going to be good. Well, first, before we even got to that game, the first day of pass, when they went to hitting, his first hit, he ran in and he scooped the kid. Boom! Took him up top and slammed him. I was like, most people don't do that first day in pass. First people don't do that. So at the game, when he went in there and he hit that quarterback, I like, okay. I remember these thoughts and feelings and these, first-time events, and that was me. I was a natural hitter. I was a natural linebacker. So that game went by. He did good. A couple games in, he had made sacks. He was making catches. He was showing me that he was ready to play tackle football. So it was a great season. They lost, 2 games? No, they lost 3 games, all to one team. So we lost to Melbourne and we lost to Coco. That was it this season. And so that season there, and he had a great first season, man, in tackle. He actually made the 8th grade All-Star Rising Freshman's game, in which he got All-Star for defensive end at that game. And, through this whole process, I'm just looking at him growing, and I'm looking at his ability in the process. And I'm like, first off, his ability to get corrected and corrected the next time he's on the field is at a high level. So when I started noticing that, I was like, I would love to see him play JV at first. And then by the end of the season, especially after the All-Star game, I was like, it's going to be hard for him to play JV. I think he can go play varsity somewhere. So then in the process of looking for the right high school, those are the thoughts that was going through my head. And we talked to almost every high school around here. Every high school coach we spoke to, especially after the game. At that game, I had to spoke to 3 coaches. And I was coming back to the stands telling them, like, bro, I just got stopped by like 3 coaches. And that was before halftime. He had like 6 tackles, rushed the court, had hurries, a couple quarterback hurries by halftime. So by the time I went down to the concession stand, was coming back up, a couple coaches would stop me like, man, I keep hearing your kid's name. And I told her, like, man, I just got stopped by like 3 coaches coming back up. So I didn't realize by the end of the game where it was going to go. But let's just say it done evolved so fast on us that I was like, this is a beautiful situation. Let's get a control on it and let's start literally paying attention to the college surface. Let's pay attention to the whole overall what's going on with high school football. And high school football has evolved so far. Being around the team right now, seeing that there's a lot of parents that don't understand what's going on with high school football. This isn't the old day when you used to tell your kid, you're going to go to college for education, strictly for education, because you can't make money in college. That's not what times we are in no more. These kids are able to do things financially and so early now through athletics that it's time to do your homework and research. That's why I'm gonna leave that off before we go to the next question. Yeah. We got so much on this episode, man. Y'all just stay tuned, rolling with us, rocking with us. Man, it's a beautiful day. This is what I want to do for Father's Day. This is my Father's Day gift, to get her on the podcast with me, and we talk about the family, man. So yeah, what's the next question?
So how do you balance encouraging your son in sports while also ensuring he values academics and other interests?
First off, if academics ain't right, it ain't no athletics. If there's two A's. If the academics ain't right, you can't get to the other A, athletics. Okay, and I promise you that's how it is here. That's how it was at my house, and I know that's how it was in y'all household. So, and we're gonna continue that tradition, because the first thing that the coach that he's playing for right now at Westwood, and I feel so comfortable with this guy being the coach of my son, bringing him into this new world, because this guy understands a different level of, for one, being a man. For two, he himself was a student athlete. For three, he understands that you are a student before you're an athlete. And that's the main thing that we want our son to understand. That's the main thing all of us should want our kids to understand, because the better your grades are, the better you are in the classroom, the better study habits that you have, the better athlete you are. Because in the athletic world, I don't care if you play basketball, baseball, football, if you play sports, studying film helps you understand the opponent. You understand their weakness, their strengths, everything, their tendencies. You will get an understanding of everything. So preparing yourself by getting a grasp knowledge of study, you to learn how to study, is a very valuable thing. So you are a student before you're an athlete, and that's what we teaching the son. So, and I know you ain't gonna go for no athletics unless he got his academics right.
Correct. That's just like we did the contracts with both kids
Correct.
last year. If they wanted to do any sports or anything extra outside of school, they had to maintain certain things, standards and rules or whatever in the house. And it also with the GPA. At the school, you may need a 2.0 just to stay on the team. But in this household, you need a 2.8 or higher
2.8 or higher to stay on any athletics.
It has to work in the academics for me, because that's why I just, feel like it will get you the way you need to go. You can't read, or you fail in reading class, how you going to want to sign an NIL deal? How you going to try to understand what a coach may come to you and offer you on paper if you fail in reading, or you not trying to understand reading comprehension and things of that nature? So that's why I think it's just a big thing to me. And also with encouraging him, if he really want this, if this is something that he really want, it's going to take hard work and dedication. So now going into high school, like I told him the other day, this is preparing you for adulthood.
Correct.
Like when you get ready to go out into the real world, elementary school, middle school, all that playtime is over with. So it's time to, how they doing in football, strap up, buckle down, and get with the program. You're going to have to get it together, and playtime is over. It's time to take all things serious. Yeah. This is what, like I was telling them, if it's you want to become an astronaut and you want to leave all sports aside, I'm gonna support you, but you're gonna put in that hard work and you're gonna make yourself dedicated to whatever it is that you want to do. No half stepping. Give it 110%. As Earl say, you know the saying, go hard or go home? No, it's go hard or go hard.
You gotta go
no going
time.
Home is the option.
Yeah. And so on top of that, with the encouragement, like you were saying, to add in on that, he gonna have to. He has 4 more years here in our household, so we're at the point right now of understanding we are preparing you for the real world. We are, as much as possible. No one leaves the home completely prepared for the real world,
Not at all.
That's why sports is so good, because in sports you go against adversity. You understand that 1 minute you up, 1 minute you down, and just because you down don't mean that you can't come back up. You know what I'm saying? It's so much that come life lessons from playing sports, learning camaraderie. You got to learn how to be in the workforce. You got to learn how to be around others. You got to learn how to work with others to make the dream work. You get what I'm saying? Like, the company has goals. It's so much that comes from all of this here that's going to be correlated into the life, into his adult life. Same thing with my daughter. She playing sports too. That's the main thing we trying to teach in the house. All of this is correlation for when you're an adult. Right. When you're out of the house And me and mama over here on the Caribbean island, so we're sipping on pina coladas and stuff, mojitos. Yes. We over here with the feet up, chilling on the, you know what I'm saying, private island. And I got on, what Jay-Z say, huh? I got on linen shorts, so my balls don't sweat. Yeah, no, I'm talking about, I'm going to go ahead and get right. I'm sorry. Yes, but yes, we going to sipping mojitos. We want to be able to relax and understand that we did what we were supposed to do, that we don't have to worry about you. And that's why we doing the things that we doing. And again, as a parent, the job is never completely done. You're gonna always be there to be giving leadership, guidance, and all that of your kid, and that's the main thing. That's what most kids need. I didn't write this point down, but I had this thought come to me when we was around all these different schools, different teams, and I'm seeing only so many kids having supporters. That don't have to be your actual child. Mm-hmm. You know, some people are playing replacement for the actual parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, all of that stuff. And sometimes I know that you don't understand sports, but just being there and being supportive for that child is more than anything ever. You know, everybody working, everybody paying bills and stuff, but these kids need support, man. I'm talking about their direct support. They need their direct support. If you're a guardian to these kids, if you are in any form, shape of relevance in a kid's life, and that kid start playing sports, and you know that the parents ain't even much doing their part right, you need to be around that, because it's not the coach's job to mold these kids into the men that they're supposed to do. Kudos to the coaches if they can do that. But the coach's job is to coach the sport that they're there for. There are some great coaches that can teach life, teach a boy how to become a man within coaching. There's some great guys out there that can do that, but that's not their job. That's within the household, and that's what we talk about all the time here on Sip This Coffee. The rules, the standards, all of these things that we're speaking of, that we're teaching our son and everything, everybody must do this in their own household. And it's back to what me and TK spoke on a couple episodes ago. The best thing any parent, any man can do for the community is not to go and attend all these protests in the world. It's not to protest. Do the protesting within your own home. Do the teaching within your own home. And that's the best thing you can do, is make sure that your child isn't a problem to the community. That's how we can stop the violence in the community. That's how we can get all the shootings down and everything, because we can get these young fellas and young ladies active and busy into things that'll make them, you don't got time for the willy flam flam, as I call it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one note that I had in my head. What we got next?
But that also goes back to what Michael Irvin said at the camp.
That's one of the notes. Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo. Tell him what he said, babe.
You tell him. That's your note.
Okay. We was at the Miami Hurricanes camp June 8th, a couple Sundays ago. We was in line waiting to see Michael Irvin. All of us wanted a picture. Me, my wife, my daughter, and my son. We wanted a picture with the playmaker. You heard me? Yes, sir. So we went over there. We was waiting in line. They had a whole group of people waiting in line. And in that time of waiting, Irvin was giving tips and stuff to all of the people, to the people that come up one by one. He had something different for everybody. The people before us, the tip he gave him was, he said, I know your child's gonna be good because you're governing your child with love, so they don't have to govern him with law. Govern your child with love, so no one has to govern your child with law. I think that is so deep. I think that is so meaningful. That is a highlight that I'm gonna continue to say until I go. Govern your child with love so they don't have to govern your child with law. If you teach in your own home, if you show within your own home and your kid believe in you, because you ain't just out here running your mouth and chirping off like a bird in the sky on a Sunday morning, you know what I'm saying? You actually putting action and stuff too. See, these kids ain't dumb. These kids get older. You once was a kid, and you once learned what was real and what wasn't real when you started to grow up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I pray you did at this point so far. I pray that some of y'all, you 21 and older, I'm praying that you can dissect reality from entertainment. And like I always tell y'all, when I check the comments on social media, I know there's a lot of people that still caught up in entertainment. Yeah. What we got next, babe?
So, what role do you think social media plays in your son's experience with football, both positively and negatively, since social media is the new thing for this new generation? They can't live without it. And I know that they see a lot of other athletes on there, you know, giving they tips on how they got to where they are and things of that nature. So, what's your outlook on that?
I think the biggest problem with the biggest problem with social media with the young athletes is when they're in like Pop Warner and stuff, and they on these social medias and they only see highlights. The highlights take away from the fundamentals of the game. The highlights take away from the small things that come within the game. The highlights take away from them actually understanding the game because they think everything is just one big play, this and that. They don't understand about clock management. They don't understand anything about, just if I get 3.5 yards for 3 plays, it's take 10 yards to get a first down. It's the small things. You got to understand why your coach didn't put you in on this. What type of running back are you? What type of receiver are you? What type of offensive lineman are you? Mm-hmm. Like all of that stuff actually matters. That's the basics to the football game. And most of these kids don't have an understanding of the basics of the game. Same thing with basketball, same thing with baseball, anything of that sort. These people are watching the highlights on social media and they're getting caught up in the glitz and glam, and then they're like, oh, this is, and then it's teams and stuff that they think are good because they possess a lot of highlights, but that team isn't winning overall. They got a lot of star players on their team. They're an all-star team, but they're not winning the major football games. So it's like, that's the bad part of it. The good part is the exposure that they're able to get. I'm seeing and recognizing now that, again, high school sports is such in a different realm right now that a kid can post enough highlights and get recognized for it. It's that yin that yang, you know what I'm saying? You take a little bit of this and you take a little bit of that and you just pray that it's coming out good. So if you can get a kid that want to make highlights but also want to understand the fundamentals of the game and the basics of the game, I think in today's time, that's the kid you want to go find. That's just not caught up in highlights. That's caught up into the game fully, because he who loves the game will get everything out of the game.
Do you think it also has an negative or a positive influence on the amount of work that the young athletes put in today? Because I know from listening to you and some of your homeboys talk about, how y'all was like faithfully putting in work at the football field. Every time you seen a football, you was tossing it in the air, you kept it with you. Do you think like them looking at social media, just looking at the highlights or the clips, impact on, because the clips make it seem like it's easy. Oh, I can do that. I could go out there and do that. But in actuality, like, there's a lot of work being put in.
A lot of work being put in. Reps, man, reps. See, the difference between, again, like you say, there's the difference. They sitting down watching the clips. We was actually getting the reps. Man, we was at PE doing full highlight tapes and then go home to the neighborhood, do a full highlight tape fresh off the bus. Yeah. So it's like we was getting the reps. We was getting reps from the neighborhood to the school, from the school to the friend's house, from the friend's house to the local basketball court. We was just getting the reps. And I think that's why it's like I was talking to you recently the other day, and I was telling you about that page I found, and they was playing all of the highlights from football players from our age group, our time, 07, 03, 02, 01. Listen. They showing highlights of guys that was 2 stars, 3 stars, and they are better than the guys that are 5-star recruits right now today. They was more electrifying, and these guys could only get a 2-star because of the exposure. That's why I say social media is good for these kids now, because they get way more exposure. They got YouTube stuff, and this is what a lot of people don't realize. YouTube came out in 2006. That was the first time somebody posted on YouTube, was 2006. Highlight tapes and stuff. Then if you go on YouTube and you look up a highlight tape from like 2007, 2008, it's pixelated, my brother. It don't even look good. It look like something from like 1980, 1990 or something. That's what you would really think, because it was so we in 4K visuals now. Right. You get what I'm saying? I don't even think we was in 780p back in 05, 06. You know what I'm saying? So It's a total different time. The caliber of athletes that we had back in the days, I'm not saying, oh, these kids ain't good. No, these kids, it's some fire here. I'm just saying the overall talent that we had in our age group compared to now, I just think that there's no comparison. Because what was considered a two-star back in the day, a two-star today is probably going to go NIA or something like that. I know a two-star athlete from Westwood from back in the days, a three-star athlete, they went Division I. Matter of fact, one of them got Freshman of the Year over a Hall of Fame running back from the NFL. If you from Fort Pierce, you should be able to tell me who that is. And then if you drop that in the comment, I'll tell you you got that right. The football player from Fort Pierce that was a 2-3 star that went D1, got freshman over the year over now Hall of Fame running back. Who was it? Fort Pierce Westwood. Know your history. Bingo. There goes something else. You know, I feel like a lot of these kids, especially with our son, I'm in the process of teaching him the history. When we had our parent meeting for him to go to Westwood with the football coach, when we walked in the gym, the first thing I showed him was the banner from my team at Westwood's district championship, 05. We won district championship when we was there. I walked in the gym, I said, that was the team that I was on right there. Then I showed him the district championships from that year to the year that I was supposed to leave. Them the guys I came in with. They was winning championships. I just strayed off. You get what I'm saying? The kids need to know the history of where they at. Why are you playing for this school? Who from this school in history ever left this school and went to college? Who in this school, in the history of this school, ever made it to the league? If you don't know that and you're playing a sport for this school, that's just like even baseball, even basketball, even the swim team, even the track team. I mean, if you don't know who ran from this school, because every school here in Fort Pierce done produced some high caliber athletes. I mean, state champions. We had state champion running up teams back in the days. If I'm not mistaken, Central had a state championship back in the day, but I'm not going to say it all the way. I know they was a state runner-up for sure. I know that for a fact. The older team. But a lot of people don't even know the history of Fort Pierce, and they love to talk about these different counties and stuff that they can go take their kid to and be more conducive. Okay, here go another point. We've been rolling real good. I'm going to let you get about 2 more questions off.
That's all I have left.
Bingo. Bingo. That means we on good target. So I got 1 more point. She got 2 more questions. But I'm going to say this here. I went to a coach's meeting, and the coach spoke on the community. He said, I've been coaching in this community high school ball for a while. He said that you'll have parents complain about the Fort Pierce schools, what we don't have, what we need, and all of this stuff here. But these same parents won't ever come to a meeting, won't ever do anything to help out the school in no form, shape, or way. And then they'll take their kid to another school in another county or another area code, and then the first thing they say is, oh, I'm on the board for this. I'm on the board for that. We doing a fundraiser for this. We doing a fundraiser for that. Just understand this here. The contributions and efforts of the community is what makes these teams. These teams aren't nothing without the alumni. So if you graduated from a high school and you've never returned to the high school and tried to do anything for the high school, you are what you call an Indian giver. You took a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, back. The community gave you stuff and you took it back. You know what I'm saying? And you never gave back. It's time to give back to the community of Fort Pierce for a lot of parents, for a lot of people, even if you don't got kids, bro. If you graduated from a high school, then I ain't saying you had to go to Westwood. That's the school that I'm speaking for, though. If you went to Westwood, you need to pop out and show your face, huh? Put your face on the line. You played football, you played basketball, you ran track, you played tennis, you played golf, you swim for Westwood. I need to see your face soon, man. Get back to the school ASAP. Yeah. Now let's finish the regular programming show.
All right, so the other question is what would be a good tip or suggestion you would give a father whose son is growing up and maybe possibly interested in playing tackle football or football in general, or who's a father, you know, trying to motivate their son who wants to play but, you know, don't know which route to take?
The best thing a father can do for their son is teach him manly rules, principles, and laws. Because if you can teach your son the man principles and laws out here, that means that he's going to be a good student of the game. That means that he's going to be a good listener. Press pause. That's what we do. Hold on 1 second, because we back. A little technical difficulty, but it don't even matter. Men's principles and laws will create the best athlete because the athlete will be coachable. I don't care what sport we talking on. If you can teach, and then you got a lot of these young boys that never even been around men, so when they start getting chastised, and not chastised in a bad way, or when you start getting critiqued and stuff like that, most of these little boys don't even know how to take it. So they take it as somebody picking on them. They take it as somebody beating them down or something. But coaches also and fathers also got to understand that there is a line, a thin line in between beating down and critiquing. So the best thing a man can do, a father can do with their son, is first he learn how to be a man himself, and then he teach his son how to be a man. And that right there alone will not only make the community better, not only make your child better, but it'll make you better. Because now you're operating amongst the laws of the land, like the good book says. Well, they don't know how I just spun that thing all the way back to the good book on them, huh? But yeah, I mean, it's all good. That's true story. Yeah. Teach your son manly, how to be a man, bro. Just teach him how to be a man. Make sure he understand how to take direction, how to be disciplined, how to take structural. That's the worst. That's the number one thing that hurts an athlete. No self-discipline, no structure, just, don't know nothing. The lack of knowledge. So if you a father, teach your son something, man. Teach your son some stuff that you never knew, that you learned as an adult. Show your son the things and qualities qualities of things that you know will be conducive to him being a great human being, bro. Like, again, it go back to what I said on the previous show when I say hurt people, but people who understand what help can do help people. And that's what I'm saying. Help your own seed, man.
Yeah, that's true. For me, when it comes as a mother, from a mother's point of view, to another mother athlete, I would just suggest be there for your child. You're at the end of the day, you're going to be their number one cheerleader. So support them any way that they can, and also have an open mindset to understand that if you're putting them in the right position and there's a coach that's critiquing your child or trying to help your child grow, like, don't stop that coach. If not, you can differentiate if the coach is beating up on your child or just tearing your child self-confidence down. But if there's a coach that's there, so pushing your child to the max and telling them they can do it and encourage them, and they may get loud and rough with them, but don't stop that, because maybe that's what your child needs. So grow with your child in this process.
Correct.
Yes, because it's a beautiful journey. And then, like Earl said, back to teaching your son how to be a man. It feels good to hear coaches and teachers come up to you and say your child is very respectful as a young black boy, because you don't hear that too much. Seeing some of these young teenage boys, like, they're disrespectful. And yesterday when we was out to eat with this, after the game, one of the waitresses came up and she was like, one thing she hates to hear is other young black boys calling other young black boys the N-word. It's just like, that's just how they're not being disrespectful, but she just don't like it. But I'm saying at the end of the day, just go with the flow. If your child get off track, help them get back on that track to continue to enjoy this journey. And it's going to be some sacrifices that you have to make. Because parents, do you think we want to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to go to a football game on a Saturday? Absolutely not. But we his number one cheerleader, so we have to do it. Do you think that we want to be sitting in the sun for 10 hours to watch game after game? No, ma'am. No, sir.
Right now.
No.
Right
so.
now.
But at the end of the day, it's a reward. We was there to enjoy every moment with him, get different clips, good clips, bad clips. It don't matter. Like, it's the process. But yeah, be your child's number one cheerleader, and, don't stop nothing if it's helping them become a better individual.
Definitely. Do you have another one?
Last question.
Let's get it.
What are some of the most memorable moments so far you've shared at games or during the training process with Zach?
What's
even with Zoe, because
what was the craziest part for me is watching them fight through adversity. That's my favorite parts of them. Learning them when they're fighting adversity. Like, do they create excuses? Like, you learn your child watching them play sports. You know, my daughter recently, when she, this is what, 2 weeks ago, her flag football team didn't have enough players. And she be in the house. She be in the house on her tablet, on her phone and stuff. So she get outside, she work out, she do footwork stuff with her brother and everything, but they don't be outside long. So the other game, they didn't have enough players. So the 5 or 6 players that was there, they had to play the whole game. And she is one of the bigger kids and she one of the faster kids, so they rely on her a lot. Man, I seen that at one point she had her hand on her head and she was like looking up. And I can just see her fighting to breathe, you know. And I'm standing behind her. I actually got the video, I got the picture and everything, and I was like, this is dope to see her pushing herself right now mentally. She's telling herself, I can continue, my team need me. Like, she showed me she got some leadership in her. She showed me a lot, so that was a precious moment. First of all, that baby girl, for one. And she out here playing flag football. I'm talking about she out here with the boys, snatching their flags, almost picking them up with the flag. She done tackled the little boy and everything. The little boy frustrated when he jump up. Like, hey, you know, that baby girl, she got you, brother. Yeah. Back up.
The only girl on the field.
Only girl on the field, and she doing her thing. So those experiences, and then with Zach, you know, last year, just being able to be on the sideline with him and to, you know, again, that was his first year ever playing. So to be able to break a lot of bad habits of not on the field stuff, that's coaching gonna do that. I'm talking about bad habits within himself. When things get hard, kids need direction and leadership to understand stuff, man. So to be able to be there for those moments was the best thing for me. I ain't accepting no excuses. If I ask you why you didn't make a play, you can't tell me about nobody else on this field. I don't care if a joker pancaked you. Why did he pancake you? If you can get your kid to understand what's going wrong when something is going wrong, we're talking about problem-solving skills as an adult. You get what I'm saying? Analyzing what went wrong and how did it go wrong. Yesterday, one of the coaches, Coach Mons, the young fella, it was so funny because I was talking to one of the young fellas right here. The young fella, he dropped the pass and he came off the field. He walked right in front of me. He came and stood right here. So I was finishing my convo with here and I wanted to say something to him. I was about to tell him, forget about that. That's over with. Before I could say anything, I heard Coach Mons walk up to him. He said, what you thinking about? And I was like, I went to smiling because I was like, dang, I literally wanted to know that. Because when the young boy was coming off the field, I was talking and I tried to shake his hand. He didn't shake my hand back. I said, he frustrated. I was about to talk to him now. So Coach Mons said, what you thinking about? He said, if you're not thinking about how you drop that ball, you thinking about the wrong thing. He said, if you over here about to give yourself a pity party, if you over here feeling sorry for yourself about dropping the ball, people in the NFL drop the ball. Same thing you told Zach a couple of weeks ago. You won't have time to sit over here, dang, I dropped the ball, man, about to cry. Get over here, get your stuff right, because we're going to get you back on the field in a minute. And guess what? That young boy ended up playing receiver the rest of the day for us at X, the number 1 spot. We're going to need you. So you going to this sideline over here about to sit over here and cry like I can't even say like a little girl, because I'm watching the little girls play flag football now, and they forgetting plays and going back out there and correcting the plays the next play too. So if you about to go over here and just act like a baby, that's what I'm gonna say. You act like a baby, then you go ahead. You ain't playing football, and that's what us as parents we supposed to be coming to do direct, not trying to go at the coaches for coming at your child. Your child needs correction if they mess up. They got to understand what happened and how do you fix that, and that's real coaching. The coaching got to understand how to coach in those moments too. That's it.
Acknowledge, accept, and move on.
Exactly, man. Short-term memory when you out there on a bad play. Same thing in life, man. It's never a loss, it's always a lesson. You gotta take the good, you gotta take the bad with the good, bro. You can't get praise 24/7. There's gonna be some critiquing in there. That's how you get praise. You know, there's a standard. And if you're not adding up to the standard, we must tell you how to get to the standard so you can go past the standard, period. If you don't want to understand what the standard is, you'll never be top dog. Because how do you become top dog? You got to beat what was the top dog. Hey, man, it's been a beautiful episode. This might be my longest episode, and I still got one more for you. Last topic. Last point. As an adult, as the guardian, as the older person in the relationship with these kids that's in these groups of athletics and stuff, understand that you are the person with the foresight because you have lived past the stages that these kids are at. So, okay, let's take, for example, my nephew, TJ, and Zach. They both coming into high school right now as 8th graders. They expect to come on the team, but they're not going to JV. They're going to,
I said as 9th graders.
What I said?
As 8th graders. What, okay?
No, yeah, from 8th grade. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But they expect, and they're not going to JV. They're big enough to go to varsity and be a contributor. So they think that they just supposed to come and jump on varsity and take somebody's spot without understanding the game, without understanding, you got to know the concepts. There is a lot to it. So they've been practicing summer workouts for the first 2 weeks now, and they're like, you think they ready? It's like, you got to wait till football practice, get with the coaches, and understand what the receivers coach want from you. When the quarterback's coach told the quarterback to call this play, when the offensive coordinator called this, the position coaches understand what that offensive coordinator wants from each position. And that's what they teaching the individuals. So until you get with them, you don't even understand the offense you running. You don't even understand the defense that you running. So it's a whole nother program that just pop running. We putting the best players on the field. If you could be the fastest, strongest, best athlete on the team, but if your run dumb is too dumb to catch what's going on, what the play coach just called, coach called the cover 3, and you freelancing out here doing your own thing, you're not getting on the field, Mr. Strong, fast guy. Yeah, so foresight as a parent, we the ones who let our nephew, let my son know, hey, look, you're a freshman. You're doing great. Most freshmen don't be in this position at this time right now. Learn what you need to learn, see what you need to see so you can get what you need to get. You get what I'm saying? So that's the thing, foresight, understanding I was a freshman before. She was a freshman before. You know, your mom, your dad, they was all freshmen before. These people graduated. They seen what the athletes was doing in their age group. It's like I said on a couple episodes a couple months ago. Your parents are the time travelers that's actually already lived out what you're trying to do right now. We're in a different time of the resources and financial things that can be used now, but we still got the same base foundation of education, same base foundation of sports and athletics. So it's a beautiful thing as the adult having foresight and being able to articulate that to your kid and let them know that you are living up to the standards that we are setting for you. That's what we are here for as parents. You got anything you want to leave them with? Hey, man, it's been an awesome episode, man. This is what I wanted to do for Father's Day. This is definitely my longest episode that I've done since I've been dropping them on YouTube. It's been a pleasure to have you on to the Sip This Coffee podcast, sponsored and powered by Kingdom Hair Products. With that being said, make sure that y'all hit the website. Make sure that y'all on the social media pages. We got some new shipments on the way. We got all kind of stuff going on, man. So y'all make sure that y'all tap in. And like I always say, put a smile on your face so you can put a smile on somebody else's face, and we can make the community a better face. And what we say? One finger, two finger, peace.